One.
Okay, I'd like to call the regular meeting of council of May 8th, 2024 to order at 6 o'clock. I'd like to start with a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the town of Winnipeg Beach is located on First Nations Territory 1, the traditional territory and ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe, the Cree, the Oji-Cree, the Dakota, and the Dene people, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect the treaties on these territories. We dedicate ourselves to move forward with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration to make Manitoba an inclusive and accessible place for everyone who lives here.
Be it resolved that the agenda for the May 8th, 2024 regular meeting of council be approved as per the following additions/deletions. Deletion, Sport Manitoba Participation Program. Addition, delay in street sweeping. Addition, Fire Blanket Safety Program.
Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Jarvis. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Gendron. Questions, comments? Councillor Kozlowski.
Yeah, I would like to add parking to that agenda as well.
I'd like to add parking to the agenda.
Bring it back up.
Any other additions? All in favor? Carried.
Be it hereby resolved, the minutes of the April 3rd, 2024 regular meeting and the April 24th, 2024 regular meeting be approved as circulated.
Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Cool. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Kozlowski. I trust everybody's had an opportunity to read the minutes. Have anybody got any questions, comments, points of discussion? No, all in favor? Carried.
Be it hereby resolved that council approves the accounts payable listing being check number 22800 to check number 22838, inclusive of checks, electronic payments, and payroll issued in the amount of $221,647.35 as circulated.
Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Jarvis. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Gendron. I just want to note that the payroll numbers are, the accounts payable is higher this month because we have $128,918 in our annual insurance renewal. So that's, I guess, insurance on all of our buildings
That's liability all.
and liability,
Yeah.
everything. Okay. Any other questions, comments, or points of discussion about accounts payable? All in favor? Carried.
Be it resolved that council for the town of Winnipeg Beach hereby gives second reading to tax levy bylaw number 04-2024.
Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Kozlowski, seconder, please. Councillor Gendron. Questions, comments, points of discussion? Yeah, I think it was a good turnout in the meeting on Monday. I was very happy to see more than 2 people there for our financial plan hearing. Hearing no questions, all in favor? Carried.
Be it resolved that council give tax levy bylaw number 04-2024 third reading finally passed, signed, and sealed.
Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Jarvis. Seconder, please. Councillor Cool. Because it's third and final reading, it's going to be a recorded vote. All in favor? Oh, I guess, sorry, questions, comments, points of discussion? All in favor? Carried.
Be it resolved that council for the town of Winnipeg Beach hereby give first reading to designated officers bylaw number 05-2024 as amended.
Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Jarvis. Seconder, please. Councillor Houle. Discussion. Councillor Gendron.
Sorry, as amended, I'm used to you highlighting things in yellow, Sharon Williams amendment.
So due to short notice, when we looked at taking the existing designated officers bylaw, it did list Public Works foreman, not Public Works
Okay, yeah, and
manager.
I had made a note of that, so you're amending it to
So
manager?
the amendment bylaw has been put online, and it is below the
Okay.
regular bylaw, and so it was just changing the wording from foreman to manager.
And we're leaving assistant CEO in there in the event that we end up having one?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion? All in favor? Carried.
Be it resolved that council for the town of Winnipeg Beach hereby gives second reading to designated officers bylaw number 05-2024.
Thank you, Councillor Kozlowski. Seconder, please. Councillor Houle. All in favor? Carried.
And I did just want to say that we did add commissioners, and that's why this is coming forward, because the decision to move forward with the unsightly properties, and so they have to be listed under our designated officer bylaw in order to act on behalf of the town. So that's why this bylaw is being brought forward. Be it resolved that council for the town of Winnipeg Beach hereby give first reading to water and wastewater rates bylaw number 06-2024.
Yes, can I get a mover, please? Councillor Jarvis. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Gendron.
And if I may, council, normally I would have a report in reference to this. This is in regard to the decision that was made to remove the LID number 3 from the tax bill and issue a separate utility billing. So there has been no change in the rates. This is still under the board approved rates from bylaw 02-2022, but because of the minor amendment in wording that it will be billed annually on the tax statement, the tax statement has just been removed and it's just stating it will be billed annually.
Yeah. Any questions about that? All in favor? Carried.
Be it resolved that council for the town of Winnipeg Beach hereby gives second reading to water and wastewater rates bylaw 06-2024.
Thank you, Councillor Kozlowski. Seconder? Councillor Gendron. All in favor? Carried.
Be it hereby resolved that council direct administration to request a meeting with the council for the arm of Gimli to discuss the following matters.
Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Jarvis. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Kozlowski. Last meeting, there had been requests from council that we meet with Gimli to bolster our relationship. I had asked council to come forward with ideas of things they wanted to talk to Gimli Council about. And so I'm wondering what councillors have come up with. Councillor Jarvis, I think you'd been the one that said we should meet with Gimli Council, so what?
Well, it was because he had requested to meet with us. So I thought we would be, at least it would be courteous to hear what he had to say. And we had other issues in the past, be that the highway and so on and so forth, but I mean, his basis, I think, is procurement.
Well,
So,
his basis was procurement for the fire department, but,
And there might be other things too, though, we don't know, so.
So procurement, well, is procurement doesn't a topic, is that?
okay, and what else would people?
Yeah, there might be some shared responsibilities that we can have, and if he's got, it's his idea, and it was him that approached us, and as per procedure, I brought it to council and said, you know, it's not my position to say, let's have a meeting, so if he wants to do that, if we voted down, then we voted down, but I thought it would be rude if we didn't hear what he had to say.
So was there anything else people wanted to talk with Gimli Council about? No? And are you suggesting that we meet with them over there, or we invite them to come over
I
here?
thought up in the last meeting, you had suggested that you would reach out to them, because again, it's not me to phone them and say, hey, I want it.
So,
Yeah.
so if council, if council is, like, we pass the resolution to meet with Gimli Council, I will then reach out to the CAO of Gimli and then coordinate that time. So it's
Okay.
just in fairness, if there were other matters, aside from the procurement that council may want to discuss, then the heads up would be wonderful.
Okay, Councillor Gendron?
Yeah, so that was, initially was procurement with the fire department. We got a response from our fire chief. Before the meeting is actually set up, would you be able to check with the CAO to see if that council that initially brought it up wants to proceed with it, or were they satisfied with the response from the fire chief?
Okay.
Since there's nothing else on the agenda. Because we got a response from the fire chief that said it's not doable, and so I don't know whether the councillor from Gimli that Councillor Jarvis is speaking about got that same message, and therefore that's why we haven't heard anything about him initiating the meeting any further.
So we're delaying the resolution again? Is that what I'm hearing?
Councillor Jarvis?
Again, I'm sitting there at the AMM and this man approaches me, he's a counselor in Gimli, he suggested he would like to have a meeting. I didn't want to just blow him off, so I
Oh, I
said, you know what, I'll
understand
bring that to the table. Now, I understand that the fire chief has already given his opinion, but again, that might only be 40% of the content. We don't know.
No, I understand.
Again, I can't, and Dave wasn't at the meeting, or the fire chief wasn't at the meeting, nobody's actually been at a meeting. So
Yeah, I
it would be
understood.
again discourteous or disrespectful to at least not hear what their council has to say.
Okay.
And again, and you'd use the term, let's create bridges as opposed to brick walls.
Silos.
If they have, and we've had administrations in the past on both sides of the fence that have torn those walls down. And if he wants to reach out and have a conversation with us, I think it would be just in our favor just to do that.
Okay, thank you.
So would we like, at that point, council, there was procurement and then the term shared services?
Well, again, I didn't get into any of the agenda with them, I just said, sure, I'll bring it to council. And unless, did I miss anything? You were there, and so was Councillor Kozlowski.
Yeah.
You know, he approached all of us, and I said, sure, we'll bring it to council.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Nope.
All in favor? Carried.
Be it hereby resolved that council approve the consolidated financial statement for the year ended December 31st, 2022 as presented by Reed and Miller Chartered Professional Accountants.
Oh, can I get a mover, please? Councillor Hool, can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Gendron. I trust everybody's had an opportunity to look at the audited 2022 statements. And we have reviewed this a number of times. Any questions, comments, or points of discussion? No? Hearing none? All in favor? Carried.
Be it hereby resolved that council approve the Canada Community Building Fund, previously known as gas tax, reserve or revenue and annual expenditure report for the year ended December 31st, 2021, as presented by Reed and Miller Chartered Professional Accountants.
Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Cool. Seconder, please, Councillor Kozlowski. Trust everybody's had a chance to read this as well. Questions, comments? No? All in favor? Carried.
Be it hereby resolved that council approve the Canada Community Building Fund revenue and annual expenditure report for the year ended December 31st, 2022, as presented by Reed and Miller Chartered Professional Accountants.
Mover, please. Councillor Jarvis. Seconder, please. Councillor Gendron. Discussion? No? All in favor? Carried. We've been dealing with numbers so much at this table, I think we're pretty well done with that, eh?
Almost.
Almost.
Be it hereby resolved that council accept the board order 52-24 from the Public Utilities Board as presented.
Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Jarvis. Seconder, please. Councillor Kozlowski. Sharon, did you want to say anything about this?
Well, this is the board order mandated.
For the
Any
LED?
municipality cannot change any utility billing charges or changes to existing legislation, which was 5823, approving the rate study that had started back in 22. And so this is just, again, making that change. You see there are steps that administration must take, like by providing a new bylaw and then issuing the supplemental bills for 23.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried.
Be it hereby resolved that council is authorized to attend the 2024 Interlake District meeting being held in Stonewall on June 19th, 2024 with no registration fee, out-of-pocket expenses and travel per diem applicable.
Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Jarvis. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Gendron. So the meeting is June 19th. Is anybody here interested in going to the June district meeting? I know I'm interested because I was at a few other meetings earlier this week and there's going to be some stuff coming up at the June district meeting in terms of the Interlake Municipal Recreation Association and a few other issues. Councillor Gendron, you're interested in going?
Yeah.
Anybody else interested in going?
No.
Okay. All in favor? Carried.
It's June 19th, right?
The 19th. And I believe that's all day.
Yeah, it usually is.
And
And
the
so
emergency
is,
coordinator's the 17th and
See you
18th.
open as well, or?
are we looking at the CAO RSVP on behalf?
If you could, please.
Okay, if any other members of council do change their mind, please let me know. I think June 14th is deadline for registration. Call that up. Let me see when the deadline is.
Councillor Gendron, just as an aside here, if I can't make it, are you okay going on your own and taking copious notes?
Yep.
Because I'm in Winnipeg for the emergency measures coordinator meeting on the 17th, 18th. It's a 2-day
Yep.
summit, and
Yep.
I'm not sure I can do the 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Yep.
So,
Be it hereby resolved that council approve blank to attend AMM workshop Conquering Teen Dysfunction being held in Portage La Prairie on May 24th, 2024 from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at a cost of $155 plus applicable taxes, out-of-pocket expenses and travel per diem.
can I get a mover, please? Councillor Jarvis. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Kozlowski. So, given the business I was in before coming to council, I always think it's good to do team building and team functioning and all those kinds of things, but I'm not sure if other people here would be interested in attending this as a team.
I know.
You're not? Councillor Kozlowski?
No.
Okay. Anybody else?
I would be interested in attending, but it is futile attending if the team's not attending, so.
Okay. So,
Defeated. Also, you'd go all in favor, because I read the resolution, and and put council as a whole there. And then you'd say, council's approved.
all in favor? Don't raise your hand.
Don't raise your hands,
That's
because
right.
otherwise
Oh,
you're
no, let them raise
approved.
their hand.
We
If
gotta
they
do
want to
that.
raise their hand if they've changed their mind in short order.
All in favor? Defeated?
Whereas council received proposal to subdivide file number 4129-24-8379 for review and comment, and whereas council has reviewed, therefore be it resolved that council for the town of Winnipeg Beach issue the following comments.
Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Jarvis. Can I get a seconder, please? Councillor Gendron. Now, this particular subdivide is next door to Winnipeg Beach.
Correct,
No,
it is not
right-
located.
It's not
it is not
located in Winnipeg
in
Beach, but it's right across the street from Winnipeg Beach, Highway 9. And when I was at the Eastern Interlake Planning District meeting last week, Councillor Gendron, you were there as well, this subdivision was talked about there as well. Have people had an opportunity to take a look at it? Do you have any questions, comments, or points of discussions in terms of this, given that it's going to be in our backyard?
Just to point out that Gimli was represented at the meeting and they had no issue with, and it's in the area of Gimli.
No questions, comments, points of discussion?
So therefore be it resolved that council for the town of Winnipeg Beach issue the following comments.
No
No
comments.
comment. Okay. All in favor?
All in favor? Carried.
Be it hereby resolved that council approve blank to attend the 50th anniversary celebration for Kiwanis Club being held at the Gimli Park Pavilion on June 1st, 2024 at a cost of $10 plus applicable taxes, out-of-pocket expense, and travel per diem.
Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Jarvis. A seconder, please? Councillor Houle. Is there anybody here who would be interested in attending? Councillor Kozlowski, might you be interested in attending?
I have to check my schedule. I might have something that date.
You might have something that
I
day.
might have something. Depends when they can get me in.
Anybody else interested in attending? I just can't, there's just so many meetings right now this time of year, I'm just booked to the throat here, folks. So, anybody else?
If I don't have anything that day, I'll go.
If you
I-
could, please,
Okay,
to represent your town?
yeah, if I can.
Okay.
Okay, I will just add.
Councillor Kozlowski? All in favor? Carried.
Be it hereby resolved that council approve blank to attend Interlake Tourism Association AGM being held in Gimli on May 23rd, 2024 with no registration fee, out-of-pocket expenses, and travel per diem.
Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Jarvis. Seconder, please. Councillor Hu. May 23rd, that's just a couple weeks from now, folks. And this is the Interlake Tourist Association. Who sits on that?
On tourism.
So who would like to attend?
What date was that again?
23rd.
May 23rd, Thursday.
23rd. Yeah, I'd be available for that.
If you could please attend to represent the town, that would be great. Thank you.
favor?
All in favor? Carried? I'd already signed.
Be it hereby resolved that the following members of council partake in the provincial initiative Building a Manitoba for All People in partnership with Inclusive Kind, Inc.
The mover, please. Councillor Jarvis. Seconder, please. Councillor Houle. Who would like to participate in this?
So it is virtual, it's, and surveys that are being filled out, so it's not as if it's actual physical meetings to attend.
You can do it anytime. Online.
It's just that, so the administration is looking to know who is interested in this initiative, so that when we receive the emails of these surveys, that we can then forward accordingly.
Councillor Houle, you'll do it? Thank you. And I will also be doing it. It would just be great to have more than one person from Winnipeg Beach doing it. Councillor Houle, my thanks. Anybody else interested?
Yeah.
Councillor Chipman.
Okay.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried.
So from the ground up, item 9.10, from the ground up, it's the grant that's replacing the common BSC or Building Sustainable Communities grant. This is a new initiative. It is a short window of opportunity. The deadline for the grant is May 31st. My apologies for not having an in-depth report, Council. Time just did not permit, based on the heavy agenda and then the public forum. What administration is looking for is initiatives that council would like to accomplish, and how much are we willing to spend on these initiatives, albeit the 2024 financial plan has been passed, and any of these initiatives that we would be applying for would not be part of that. With this grant, it does carry over into 2025, so it's not as if we have to expend the monies in 2024 for any projects that we're looking at. But if we are looking at, and one of the ones that does come to mind that we did not allocate in the budget was the renovations for,
Business center.
because we needed it to be funded, and the funding opportunity did not come up, of course, until after budget's been set. So it's just for council discussion, and we'll table the resolution so that we can clearly identify that and give council a chance to digest the ideas that are presented amongst yourself, and then we can have the formal resolution at the May 22nd meeting, which will still be in time for the grant submission, which will also allow administration and team to gather the data needed for the initiatives that councils like to consider.
This was, it just came out last week when I was at the Interlake Municipal Recreation Association, because we've been waiting for the BSC grant since January or earlier. And at council table, we had the discussion that for the BSC grant, we were gonna apply for funding to upgrade the business center so we can start utilizing that. We'd also discussed doing other things. If you remember, Ian Goodall was here with us at the time, and he said put in as many grants as you can think of. They might not all get okayed, but put in as many as you can think of. I think that we had talked about the hockey rink boards, but in our meeting with Carissa, she was saying that there might be another grant available for that.
Yeah.
Do we want to include hockey boards in case that grant doesn't come up? Is that a priority for council? Are there other things that we've been talking about that we want to put in here? Councillor Jarvis?
When we spoke with Mr. Goodall, George, we looked at the ice plants, and he thought we had a good shot. There was $60,000. He said put in the grant for $60,000. And I know we budgeted money for the compressors, but again, you know, and he said it was an 80-20 split. So if we come in at 65,000, it comes in at 48. You know what I mean? The hit to us might only be $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. And that was for both.
And that was for 2 compressors, although we had
Two.
talked about with Joe putting a C-can in the back and having 1 compressor for both plants. Does anybody remember where that went or whether there were some problems with that? Councillor Gendron and then Councillor Jarvis.
So I just want to clarify, with regard to the numbers Councillor Jarvis was speaking, this one is only up to 50% of your, this
Well,
grant
the original one was,
application.
the original was.
Yeah, I'm just saying this grant, so we need to be looking at, do we have the money for 50% of the cost, is all I just wanted to make sure.
So if the CEO will interject, just because of the finance, we did allocate $30,000 and we were looking at just the 1 compressor. So by putting a grant submission for 60, we've still allocated our 30
Okay.
for this year, so that even if we were approved, we're still within our
Okay.
budgeted parameters.
Okay.
We're just getting more work done.
Okay.
Right, because even at a 50-50, then a 60,000, like
We would
cover
put
it.
we would put the
60,000
grant
for it.
application for
I
60,000.
want to answer Pam's question about the C-can, is that I think we had no problems with that. And if I remember correctly from Joe, that he didn't see a problem with that either, because the curling club ice plant is just, that should be just redone completely.
Well, they're both equally as old.
Right.
The curling club did a bit of maintenance upgrade around 10 years ago that we didn't do. But can we just say at this point, we'll look at the compressors and not make a decision about whether we're going C-can or not?
Can we involve
Because-
Joe in the conversation?
We can involve Joe in the conversation, but we don't want to make this so complicated. Like, this is a short deadline. It only came out last week and the deadline's the end of May. That's not a lot of time to get all the numbers together and get the grant filled out and like all of that sort of stuff.
The changeover of the ice plants is a bigger project than just simply putting a C-can and moving the equipment. I think that you would have to, I would recommend that council or committee, rec committee, public works committee, really review, and that's where some of that net zero comes into place. Because when you start looking at retrofitting the ice plants and moving those lines and creating that system, that there's going to be a tag associated with that. And yet if the directive of council and committee is to move to net zero, then why would we invest in that until we're ready to invest in the upgrade of all of the equipment under that piece? Because I can say the retrofit from, and I have been involved in retrofitting ice plants, and there's always complications with that, and there's price tags associated with those complications.
Yeah. So can we put compressors
Compressor,
on
for
here?
sure.
And then Councillor Hull, you and I might need to meet before the 22nd.
Yep.
Because we'll have to bring recommendation before that.
That's fine.
Is it just the compressor we're applying for at this point then? This is the initiative we're looking
What
at?
about the retrofitting of the business center
Yeah,
as
so the
well?
business center,
And so what price tag is council comfortable with when we look at allocating funds for 2025 for this project? Because if you are approved, council, we have to be prepared to follow through. And so there can be a benefit that being approved, within the grant, they are providing a percentage of the grant monies up front. So there is an opportunity to spend those grant monies only in '24 until we allocate our portion in the '25 budget.
so I'm not sure we should be applying for a lot more just in case we get them. I'm thinking at this point, I mean, I was gonna say, is there something we could be doing with infrastructure and ditching and all that kind of stuff, but I think that's just taking on way too much. and we don't have the money in it to match. And so why don't we, you know, the business center has been high on our agenda to deal with because that could be a source of revenue. And the ice plant is important as well because it might die anytime.
So would it be possible, while I know the CEO doesn't need anything added to her plate, for some form of numbers available to us for the next meeting, and we can make the decision at that point based on what numbers we're looking at?
Numbers for what though?
For the
I,
retrofit.
in truth, we're looking at a very short window of period of time. We would be able to provide some rough estimates if we were looking for a recommendation from the CAO based on what the 2024 financial plan brought forward, and the $30,000 was born out of taxation and minimal impact. That if we look at a $60,000 grant application, which would mean it's our portion would be 30,
Yeah.
is a very safe number. I think that if we going through, as we start really looking at the design, again, you're looking at an old building, and so the complications that may arise with some of that coming through there, if the 60,000 will not cover the full extent, there's nothing saying we can't look at applying. There will be another intake in 2025 that we can apply for phase 2.
So you're saying a $60,000 project at a 50%
Would
grant
be the
match
$30,000,
would be fine.
because we
already
won't
budgeted
have the
for that.
compressor next year, right? So
Okay.
We've already budgeted for that, so that's okay. How much do you think we should be looking at for the business center?
the 60,000.
That was the business
That was the
center. For both.
discussion. No, so the 60,000 as the grant application, meaning our commitment would be
Mhm,
30,000. And since when we look
Oh,
at,
I see
we've
what
put
you're saying.
30,000 in prior to this grant for the compressor and minimal impact, it'd be a minimal impact
Right,
to the
right.
2025 budget. It's not a huge valid commitment to the project.
Okay.
So those, just the two, is that sufficient? Okay, so we will table this item, and I will have the grants with some additional information on those items for next meeting. Item 9.11, Riding Mountain West requests for support school tax mill rates. No report presented to council. If council requires additional information other than what has been presented, the CAO recommends that we table to allow the CAO time to prepare a report. But if you do have questions about the letter that was presented, I can certainly answer what I know of it.
Councillor Jarvis?
Yeah, I think I understand it, but there seems to be some like vague areas on this.
Some of the
Like
issues.
I understand the base tax, and I understand the minimum tax when they get into this variable, so it looks like they're trying to change how we apply mill rate versus assessment.
True, and so the issue, that piece of the letter, I would not be recommending council support, because every individual council has the opportunity already within their own financial plan to base expenditures, whether it be per parcel, based on frontage, based by mill rate. You already have that opportunity, and there's no point in lobbying the province.
Look, I
for that.
understand where the direction's going, but I don't think it's articulated properly. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So-
And the biggest piece that I believe the intent is trying to have a standard school tax rate. And so although we only belong to one school division in the town of Winnipeg Beach, there are several municipalities that have 2 or more school divisions within their jurisdiction.
Well, it looks like they're trying to put in the seasonality concept as well into that
And
statement.
so what is council's thoughts on that? Is this something that is worth supporting, or is But, and they gave very obvious, so it's not as if, a lot of the times municipalities, when they are looking for support, and they're moving forward on that, they generally provide a resolution template so that all councils are passing the same resolution as a unified stance. And that has not occurred, and that's where looking at exactly, there was a few vague points. And so I didn't spend lots of time to decipher this unless this is of interest of council, and then I can get additional information forward.
I'd like to suggest that we've got, and you've got, so much on your plate right now, and there's so many moving parts with everything else. I'm not sure, for me, and other council members might have a different opinion, that this is an important enough issue to put a lot of administrative time into.
I agree. I think it's a good idea, but I think they can do a better job fine tuning it. Because right now, if I read, I could read between the lines where they're going, but you can't present that idea to anybody. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just it's all over the board. So they need to fine tune that, shorten it up, get a little more precise, and as you said, they need to have a legitimate resolution in there, and there is none. I read it a couple of times, I couldn't find, I was still confused at the ambition.
I feel better hearing Councillor Jarvis's comments, because I felt the same way when I was reading it. I thought, what am I reading?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do, just when we were looking at the June district meeting, any members of council who are, I suspect that Riding Mountain West will be passing a resolution at their council table and presenting it to the district for consideration.
They're not in our, I think they're not in our district, so we won't hear it.
Right, so, but which ultimately, every district's resolutions, if it passes at a district level, will reach AMM in November.
Okay.
So just for familiarity's sake, and so at that point, if council's wanting to support the initiative at the November convention, when they're reading the resolutions,
Yeah.
You'll be able to vote in favor or against.
And hopefully they'll have done more work to be a bit more clear about what they're asking for.
So-
I don't want to do the work for them.
No.
I hear ya. So I will have that item just as received as information. Sport Manitoba Participation Program, that item has been deleted. Additions, delay in street sweeping. This did just come to my table yesterday. I'll read a quick synopsis for everyone who may have looked at the agenda over the weekend and did not update today. Yesterday, our Public Works manager was notified by Manitoba Transportation and Infrastructure that there will be a delay in cleaning the streets. And so past practice has been the town does not own we have a sidewalk sweeper, which we clean the sidewalks, push that onto the streets, and then the MIT sweeps the actual roads. There is a delay, and why this delay is coming forward to council is primarily because of the patios. And so there the Public Works manager did look to see if there was a local contractor nearby that would be able to do that. There were a few, but they are booked as well and would not be able to meet the timelines until June as well, same as MTI. And so since there's no cost borne to the community by MTI cleaning the streets, waiting for a contractor with the same time frame is not available. The only other option, as stated in the report, is for Public Works to rent a street sweeper, and the approximate cost would be $3,000 to do that cleaning. In discussions with Public Works manager, however, there has been identified workloads, and recognizing with the drainage systems as well as some of the sidewalk repair in the downtown corridor, the intent was to focus on those items during this time frame prior to the big swing of the summer crowds coming in, because then all works in that area will cease until fall. So if looking for council directive on the street sweeping, and where within the priority lines this is falling for council, so that staff can then be allocated to that, or if waiting for June is acceptable for council.
You know, I really think that waiting for June is acceptable. I mean, the May long weekend is even earlier this year. I know that the patio, the folks like getting out for the May long weekend. The problem is our guys are really busy now and they want to get that front sidewalk more leveled out so it's not a danger to people walking down the street, and they want to get on top of this drainage started now before we have the October rains, and we can't be doing a lot of it in the summer. You know, I'm really thinking that we should, you know, that's where Public Works has put their priority. And I think that those two things are probably more of a priority than the patios, patios. And maybe give them a bit of a rebate, as the CAO has suggested. That's kind of the direction I'm leaning, but I'd like to hear from other folks to see what you think. Councillor Gendron?
I would also like to suggest that we also give them the option of canceling their patio license if they don't want to wait till June to start up their patio.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 2 weeks.
I know it's only 2 weeks, but I just,
Okay.
yeah,
I support June 1st.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Are the others fine with the recommendation that they be given the option to cancel as well?
Yeah, I'm okay with
Yeah.
that.
And
Yeah,
what
whatever.
about a rebate of $50?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have, yeah.
I think there's only, what, two, three patios?
I think we
Three.
have three, right.
Okay,
Well,
John,
I'll get that, just.
you got.
Be it resolved that council authorize the delay in rubber curb installation to accommodate the delay in street sweeping services conducted by Manitoba Transportation and Infrastructure. And further be it resolved, a rebate of $50 be provided to any business that has taken out the patio license. And further, be it further resolved, any, what am I saying there? Be it further resolved that
A rebate.
a cancellation rebate will be approved upon request.
Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Jarvis. May I second it, please? Councillor Ho. All in favor? Carried.
Addition 10.2, fire blanket safety program. Again, yesterday I did receive a call from the fire chief. The Fire Association did take on an initiative just to, as a bit of a feeler from a safety perspective. There's been several commercials about these fire blankets instead of using the extinguishers. As well as, or baking soda, so it's a blanket that if a kitchen fire or any fire breaks out, that the blanket itself smothers the fire. So the association did buy some of these blankets, and they were very surprised at how quickly they did sell. So they do sell them for $35 per blanket, and because of the fast depletion, the fire chief is requesting council consider this becoming a town program. And whereas then at that point, the expense of those blankets would be borne by the town, but the profits at that point, minimal as they are, however, per box would equate to about $156, and those profits would then in turn be allocated to the fire reserve.
Okay, can I get a mover, please? Councillor Jarvis.
There is no resolution, Madam Mayor, until
We do,
council
Mayor.
Damn it.
does the.
Do
So it's the resolution is to
Either approve.
Support it or-
sort of support. Okay, so how about, be it resolved that council authorize,
Yes.
does not authorize the fire blanket safety program as a town initiative, and further be it resolved, any profits from the program be allocated to the fire reserve account.
Can I get a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Jarvis, thank you, Councillor Hool. You seconded. Discussion. Councillor Gendron.
So is this something that administration would be taking on and people ordering through, coming to the office to purchase? Is that sort of what they're looking at?
So they're looking at a greater exposure by the amount of population that comes through the office, whether to inquire about something, purchase a permit, dog license, pay taxes, utility. As far as from an administrative perspective, these types of initiatives happen a lot, and there's really not a burden to administration. It's creating a new ledger. This CAO prefers 2 new ledger accounts be provided so that there is absolutely no misunderstanding of when a blanket is purchased and when blankets are sold. And so it's very clear with the expenses. It doesn't get lost in an equipment line or anywhere else. So, and then we have the preset, so at the time of anyone purchasing it, it automatically goes into the GL. So at the end of the year, it's as simple as running the report within the 2, and the difference then being allocated to.
So it's complete cost recovery and a slight profit? Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a stop, sorry.
Councillor Kozlowski, you had your hand up first.
Yeah, how many
Councillor Jarvis.
blankets are in a box?
12.
12. And the size, do you know the size of it?
I do not know that.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen the ads on TV quite a bit, and looks like probably a great response from the public as well for this, for sure.
Okay, Councillor Jarvis.
This is a stockable item, correct? Like we
That's
can-
correct.
And it could be an ongoing program, things that
Correct.
we could throw out through newsletters, et cetera, like and yeah, so I mean, it's really not an issue if you put 2 or 3 boxes here and then we just continue to sell them.
Correct.
And it's gonna be good for our community. We've got lots of
Well, it's a
folks that
safety
live out
issue,
here,
too.
and it's
It
a
is.
safety issue, and lots of seniors.
And
lots
it's not
of all
very
of us. It's
expensive.
just,
No.
not a big expense.
Okay, so that council authorize.
Yes, please. Do you have to read
All
it
in
again, or
favor?
can I just say all in favor?
Favor.
All in favor?
Good hand.
Carried. I don't know why I'm having so much stuff here.
All of this stuff.
Okay. Be it resolved that council accept the committee reports as presented.
Madam CAO, I think we had another addition of parking.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Yes, correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
There was another addition of parking. Councillor Kozlowski, you asked that parking be put on the agenda?
Yeah, was it gonna be in camera or?
No?
No, okay. Yeah, I thought about the parking again, and we've been talking about it for quite some time already. And I know that was on my agenda when I wanted to become a counselor for the town. Parking's been a problem here for eons and remains to be a problem.
Yeah.
I would still like to see parking at the end of Stitt, near, just off the roadway there is one of the areas that we talked about, and further east of that into the park area. It was there, I know 40, 50 years ago, there was a parking area in there, and it's covered up with grass, and when we met with the parks, provincial parks, they said it's still there and all we have to do is take it out. Also on the west side of Stitt there, by the tracks. Is that gonna be a gated parking? What do we do with that?
Okay. So, I'm a little bit confused. This council spent over a year in meetings about planning for the parking. We met with the railroad line, we met with the parks, we met with the ADM, we had numerous meetings here among council, looking at all of the options, looking at all the suggestions. And when it came forward for a decision, I think yourself, Councillor Kozlowski, Councillor Hool, Councillor Jarvis said that you wanted to leave it status quo and not do anything about it this year, so that it's gone to the sideline. There's lots of work that went into it. I mean, there's dozens and dozens and dozens of hours of administrative work that went into all of what we did, and dozens of hours that we put into it. But when this council decided to just go status quo and not do anything about it, it came off the table. In order to to revise parking again at this point, that would be an incredible amount of work. Our administration has taken on other projects now to move forward with because you guys said that you didn't want to do anything with it this year.
Well, once again, there were no concrete answers as to what we were doing with it. We were talking for a year and a half about it. Nothing's been come on it. Nothing's been settled.
Councillor Kozlowski, we did talk for a year and a half about it, and that was my aggravation at that meeting, because that was the meeting where council had to make the decision about what are we gonna do? And that was the question before us. I stated very clearly, what are we gonna do about parking? We've looked at all the options. Do you wanna go paid parking? Do you wanna go ticket and tow? Do you wanna develop new parking lots? What do you wanna do? That was the question, that was the meeting we had. That was the whole point of the meeting. And I heard from the three of you that you didn't want to do anything. You said status quo, take it off the table. So this isn't something that I get to decide, and it's not something that our CAO gets to decide. This is a decision that council needs to make, and that was the meeting we set aside to make that decision. But we didn't go forward with it because we had 3 people on council who said status quo.
Again, that was because there are no concrete answers.
The concrete
And we
answers,
still don't have any answers.
the concrete answers have to come from us.
That's right, and everybody had different ideas, different opinions, right?
No,
Paid parking, not paid parking, your commissioners out there giving tickets, towing.
right.
The questions still affect each one of us, and our responses, what kind of response we can give to that.
Absolutely. And so, as a council, our job was to look at all of the options. And so over a period of a year to a year and a half, that's all the work that we did here. And that was the huge amount of hundreds of hours that our administration did to get the information so we could look at what would ticket and tow look like? What would commissionaires look like? What would paid parking look like? What were the options in terms of paid parking? Do we have beams? Do we just have people who hand out, collect $10 at the door? Like, we had to talk about what every option there was available to us, as opposed to just coming here with your mind made up. We had to look at every option available, and so we did all of the work to look at all of the options. But then the day came when, as a council, we had to figure out which direction we were gonna go. And we didn't even start having that discussion. And I heard from council that you wanted things to be status quo. And you voted on that, and so it got taken off the table. Like, I can't say, this is what we're gonna do, and then have you vote for it or against it. The 5 of us have to figure out what is it we wanna do with parking. I was all for getting paid parking, and I think earlier in our conversations a few months before our final decision, Councillor Hoole, you were saying, yeah, the paid parking is a source of revenue. It gets people off our street. We can have handicapped, we can have 15-minute, we can have customer parking, we can do all of that here. We can have paid parking there. That was on the table for discussion. And we had to make a decision that meeting, and the decision that this council made was don't do anything. Which I was quite shocked at, and maybe at that time I should have said, why are we taking it off the table after a year and a half of work? And hundreds of hours went into that. But, to say now you want to bring it up, I mean, we can bring it up again, but our CAO doesn't have time to redo all that work again. She's got piles of stuff on her plate and not even enough time to do that.
What do you mean redo the work again? The work's been done already, so it's
Okay.
still there.
Okay,
And another problem.
But we also were gonna get back to parks about what we were gonna do. We were gonna get back to Lakeline about what we were gonna do. We didn't. Because it was decided we're not gonna do anything. So there's still a lot of work that needs to be
Did
done.
we ever hear from the railways?
No.
No.
Well, we heard.
And another problem I had was with bringing these curbs back. Number one, that's a safety issue. Number one, you're lessening the parking downtown because you're putting those curbs up all the way from the north end to the south end. They're
Councillor-
not effective.
Councillor-
Put them in front of the patios and that's it. I mean,
Councillor
like it
Kozlowski-
was last year.
Councillor
And it worked
Kozlowski,
great.
that was a decision that this council made. I understand you didn't agree with that decision, but that was a decision that this council made. We had an initial meeting with Lakeline. We haven't heard back from them because we also haven't pursued anything. Councillor Jarvis.
I guess I initiated the status quo, but the reason why I initiated the status quo was because the parks, you had informed us that the parks weren't prepared to do anything. And my original, and I'm not, I have no intention of ever reviving parking ever again. But if the park put us in this position in the first place, hang on, we became the parking lot, and that was my initial the reason why I wanted the park to be involved. And when they said that they weren't prepared, and understandably, it's a new government or whatever, but when they said they weren't prepared to even come to the table to discuss it, to me, then it's moot, if you know what I mean, because we're going to be and we're going to try to fix a problem that they created. So, and that's when I'm not in here to discuss it, because I said, you know what, at this point in time, maybe next year, maybe 2 years from now, the park will be prepared to come to the table. But I don't think that we should be the bearer of all of the responsibility and or the expense of changing all of the parking.
And I understand your position completely, Councillor Jarvis, and you have been very, very clear about that. The problem is that when we used to have, as you know and we've talked about, we used to have a 250 spot parking lot in the park before it became a campground. We went back through the documentation, Parks went back through the documentation, the ADM went back through the documentation, and at the time the agreement was made, there was no agreement made about the park taking on the problem of parking.
I'm not here to discuss parking. To me, it's a dead issue.
Okay, but my point is, yes, the park caused the problem. This is one of the cons of having a town in a park and having a park in the town. There's benefits to that. Lots of people come out and do our businesses. It brings lots of income and community and a whole bunch of stuff together. One of the cons is that parking is going to be an issue. This council can decide, oh well, park caused the problem, so we don't have to fix it. The problem is there is no incentive for parks to fix this year or next year or the year after, because it's not bothering them. It was a park problem. It is no longer a park problem, it is now a town problem. So we can walk around saying for as long as we want, the parks should fix it, and yes, maybe they should, but they're not gonna. And so if it's a town problem and it's causing us problems, and it is, and it's causing our businesses problems, as it is causing our seniors problems because they can't access their services that we use in town, as it is now a town problem. And I believe this council is responsible to do something to fix that. I hear you don't agree with me, and that's fine, we get to not agree. So I understand why you said, no, you don't want to move forward on parks. I'm a little confused, because I don't think that everybody at this table believed that. I thought that the people at this table thought we should be moving forward with parking, which is why we spent so much time talking about it and working on it. But when you three voted to take it off the table, there's nothing we can do unless we vote to put it back on the table.
I'm aware of that.
And I'm sure that you're aware of that. I just haven't heard from other people. Other people want to enter this discussion?
I think we need a little more town involvement, you know, have a public forum, something like that, if we're gonna open the casket again.
We could have a public forum, for sure, and I'm all about public forums, and we're going to be having a public forum this summer, and that could be one of the things we ask people. I don't think we're going to be any further ahead, because I think we're going to have some people who are saying absolutely pay parking. I mean, read Facebook. You're going to have some people saying absolutely pay parking. You're going to have some people saying leave the parking alone. Some people are going to say handicap parking only downtown. Some people are going to say we can park anywhere we want. I don't think
And I
we
think
have any
that's
more
why
information.
that's why the status quo came up.
And
Yeah.
this is a situation where this is a hard decision that council has to make. And it's going to be hard because no matter what decision you make, there are going to be some people who are unhappy. And I think that's part of what you have to learn to live with when you're sitting on council. If we decide not to do anything, you're going to have a lot of people squawking at you this year saying, after all this work, why the hell couldn't you guys make a decision? If we make a decision and go forward with paid parking, you're going to be hearing from other people saying, why are you making us pay for parking? Now we're going to leave your community, we'll never come back. I don't think that's gonna happen. This place is packed during the summer. And if you have to pay $5 or $10 to park your car for the day, I don't think that's gonna be a problem. But no matter what decision we make, we are gonna be unpopular with at least some group of our residents. And so that's, you know, the easy part of being on this council is, you know, being in the parades and going to the meetings and doing all that sort of stuff. The hard part is making decisions that we know is not going to be popular with everyone, but making the decision anyways because we know it's in the best interest of this town. And that's what we have to keep in mind when we're making decisions. It's what's in the best interest of this town for this year and for the next 2 years and for the next 5 years and for the next 10 years. Those are harder decisions to make and you're not going to be popular all the time. And I think I'll just get off my soapbox right now. Councillor Gendron.
Parking was taken off the table, therefore so was any money committed to it. We have not
Absolutely.
allocated money. So if parking's gonna come back up again, I can't see it coming back up as a serious discussion with money involved until we're discussing and planning for 2025.
That's right.
So I can, if the CAO may speak
Sure.
on the matter, although there is no money allocated to parking in the 2024 budget, if parking and parking solutions is still from the majority of council, something that council wants to move forward on, council still can set up meetings and looking at getting to the point of concrete or options, what's off the table, what's on the table, how much is council willing to look at expending for 2025. So there is a lot of planning and pre-work that goes involved in those types of things. So if council is willing to reconsider parking solutions, the CAO would support council meeting in 2024 to discuss the plan
Go forward
for
plan.
2025.
And that means making a decision of how we want to go forward so that in 2025, we know what kind of money to put aside for whatever decision we make.
And I
Councillor
also
Gendron.
agree, we have to make some tough decisions.
Yes, we
We
do.
were elected by the community to make decisions for the community. There are things we need to go to the public about. I don't know if we need to go to the public about parking. I mean, we can, you know, we went to the businesses and we can hear what they have to say, but we need to make some decisions. We know there's a problem. The public has identified it. Councillor Kozlowski said that was an issue when he was running for council. I think we all know it's an issue for people in this community. We have to make some hard decisions. I would absolutely love to see parking back on the table so that we can have discussions and serious consideration to everything. And you know, we're gonna have a forum this summer. I'm sure parking will be something that people will want to talk about, and that will be an opportunity to hear what they have to say. But I agree, the park doesn't, it's not the park's problem. Parking is not something that the province is concerning themselves with.
No.
They have all the parking they need for their campground. They don't have a parking issue. We have a parking issue. And so we can't keep ignoring, for the citizens of this community, we can't keep ignoring the parking problem when we know the province has made it very clear, it's not their problem, it's ours.
Councillor Jarvis.
I'm the guy that brought up parking initially.
I know.
And we're discussing it, so that's fine. And everybody thought it was pretty humorous, and everybody made jokes about me and parking and so on and so forth. And I was pretty adamant about parking. I'll never shelve the concept on parking. I mean, parking has been an issue with me for a long time. Now, the point that I'm trying to get to here is if somebody's trying to, if the implication is that I don't want to make tough decisions, or I don't want to participate in the tough decisions, I think that's wrong, because I think I've demonstrated more often than not that I'm willing to go, I'll suffer the blows. I don't care about blows. I'll make the tough decisions. And back to the status quo concept, I don't think, I can remember saying that we haven't, as a community, we haven't bled enough about the parking problem. Is that the parking problem is a problem, and I stand by that. But, and I'll never shy away from trying to fix that. But right now, it's just, as been indicated, we've got a lot of things on our plate right now. And sometimes it's easier to say, well, maybe we're not as ready for this decision as we thought we were. And let's postpone that and let's get on to something else. And hopefully that answered it, but I had no intention of ever getting involved in the parking conversation during this term, so, but we're in it now.
You had no intention of getting.
I didn't want to revisit, I said that the last time, that you know what, I think that we need to, there has to be another avenue to figure this out. You know, that, and maybe we just haven't really thought about it enough, and maybe we haven't heard enough, heard as an HURT, as with reference to the parking problem. So, and we might have a different perspective after this year.
A couple of things I want to say. I wasn't suggesting you weren't able to make hard decisions, because I think it was a pretty unpopular decision to say status quo. However, you know, I'm not sure what you mean by we have to hurt more to make a decision. I think that we have looked at all the available options. I think we're hurting enough. I don't think another year of having horrible parking is going to fix anything. But
I don't want to
we
spend,
can-
I guess, really, I don't want to spend any more time on it because we have big things to do.
We can-
But there are, honestly, Mayor Jackson, there are other options. We need to designate more time to it to discuss it. And not right now. I don't think this is the right time to do this.
Well, you know, I'm not sure when the right time would be. I'm just
It
wondering.
might be next year, it might be a year and a half, it might be, who knows?
But you're suggesting that there's other options, so I'd love to,
Well,
that means you have
well,
something
I
in
mean,
mind.
we have some, we've discussed even, you know, town parking lots and et cetera, and we have a lot of vacant property downtown and so on and so forth, and we don't know, you never know what might happen, so. Well,
Okay.
property gets bought and sold all the time.
Okay. Other discussion on this?
Well, I think I'm a little offended by when you point out, you know, us three councillors. When you vote as a council, you vote as a council as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're picking us three out, I'm not a fan of that. I think when council votes, they vote as a whole, so council made the decision, X, Y, Z. There's no need to point out who voted what.
But it's not as if that was a secret though, Barry. I mean, that was all on camera that,
But still, you vote as a whole, council as a whole,
okay?
that's all. And like I said, there's popular decisions either way.
Mhm.
If we start charging people, that
People
might
are gonna
not
be
go
upset,
that
yeah.
well, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, are we leaving things status quo then?
I am.
So the CEO would like a resolution on this matter as
Mhm.
to, so to be very clear with the decision of council. And so is parking initiatives, will meetings be set in 2024 to discuss parking initiatives?
No.
I need clarification, so I can write a resolution on that, so then it's very clear that, yes, there will be meetings in '24 for parking, or no, there will not be meetings
No.
for parking in '24. And that way the decision is
Clear.
clear.
So, the
Meetings for
option,
24 to go
the
forward
op-
to 25.
the options are take parking off the table and we don't talk about it again. Or,
Madam Mayor, I would refrain from saying we don't talk.
right, okay.
I'm, at this point, I'm concerned with 2024.
2024.
I
So there's a
vote
suggestion, there's a,
against any conversations for 2024.
okay, so let me be clear about what the question is. The option before us is that we could have meetings in 2024, make a decision about parking that would then be managed by our 2025 budget. We either vote to do that or we vote not to do that, just so it's crystal clear about whether we're doing it or not in 2024 to make decisions for 2025 budget.
And that also then falls in line with Councillor Kozlowski's request to put parking back on the table.
That's correct. That's the question before us. So we're just giving Sharon a minute to write the resolution.
And then you can vote in favor
You
or
can
not.
vote in favor or not.
Be it resolved that meetings of council to discuss parking solutions will be conducted in 2024 with the following meeting dates.
Can I get a mover, please? Counselor Hula. Can I get a seconder, please? Counselor Kozlowski. All in favor? Passed.
Okay, so okay. So it's passed now? Everyone's in favor of setting meeting dates?
For parking?
Okay, with the following meeting dates, can we establish a few dates so that,
We get it.
does everybody realize what was voted on?
I don't know. We're
I don't
gonna,
think so.
Okay, can I reread the resolution so everyone is clear what the in favor is for? Because if you don't agree, then you wouldn't vote in favor. Be it resolved that meetings of, because I have to decide yes, one or either, because just like before, defeated. If nobody agrees to this, then this resolution is defeated. Be it resolved that meetings of council to discuss parking solutions will be conducted in 2024 with the following meeting dates. And those dates are left blank. So we had the mover, the seconder.
let's pick some dates so we can put them in the resolution. Then we can either pass
I
the
can-
resolution or defeat the resolution.
Well, how about we just go with meeting dates to be determined?
Meeting dates to be determined. Thank you.
So if you vote in favor, you are voting in favor of meeting
About
to discuss parking
in 2024.
in 2024.
Do we have a mover for this, please? Counselor
Yeah.
Kozlowski, can we have a seconder, please? Counselor Gendron, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Be it resolved that council accept the committee reports as presented.
Can I get a mover, please? Counselor Jarvis. Can I get a seconder, please? Counselor Kozlowski. I trust everybody's had an opportunity to read the committee reports. Questions, comments, points of discussion? All in favor? Carried.
Council, committee, and board reports, roundtable discussions.
Has anybody been to any committee meetings that they would like to talk about? Please, Counselor
Not
Gendron.
committee meetings, but I did represent the town at the West Shore 25th anniversary celebration at Resort in Gimli. It was really nice to hear history on West Shore. One of the original board members was former mayor of Winnipeg Beach, Reed Kellner.
Oh, you're kidding?
Yeah, he was one of the original board members. It was nice, they had a slideshow showing board members. That would have been as a business owner.
Oh.
Yeah, because he would have owned the hotel at the time, might not have been on council. Yeah, and they have a new, it was announced at the dinner, there is a new matching grant program this year. So anybody that's watching that might be considering donating to West Shore, please get in touch with them because there is an opportunity for a matching grant for anything that's a new donation. And then just as a follow-up, at the last meeting, there was information from the province that there's going to be a forum for Interlake Fishers. I did follow up with Chris, the president of Winnipeg Beach Harbor Authority, and he was aware of it and they'd already been in touch with him. So, yeah, so they are they're being involved in the information.
Good, good.
That's it.
Any other meetings that anybody has to report on that you went to in the last month?
Middle of the month, maybe I'll have some.
Okay. I went to the Interlake Municipal Recreation Association meeting, which is being revised. It's been And I think it was brought together in like 1988, and then it stopped 5 or 7 years ago, and it's come together again. And I wasn't even sure I was going to go, but I'm glad that I did. It was in Stonewall, and met with people from Rockwood, Gimli, Woodlands. Ian was there from the province, and he's a resource to the group. And so it's just a really good group in terms of talking about shared issues in terms of recreation activity in each of our communities, what each of us is doing and what we're not doing. There was lots of sort of brainstorming with each other in terms of different things we can try in terms of community engagement and those kinds of things. So it was a very good meeting. We're going to be looking at getting some speakers in, doing some lobbying together as opposed to any of our individual smaller municipalities lobbying on our own, that we would lobby together in terms of activities and events for our communities. So that was a very good meeting, and we also heard about the BSC grant and the Healthy Together Now grants and other kinds of grants that are available for each of the municipalities. So it was a good meeting to go to, and it was very helpful. I was at the EIPD meeting as well in Gimli, Councillor Gendron, and there as well. And looking at the planning district, there's lots of stuff moving with the planning district this year. Like, they are very busy. Lots of development happening in a number of municipalities, so that's really good to see. And there was another meeting, myself and Councillor Houle met together for a rec committee meeting and also for a public works committee meeting with Joe and Carissa. We have some initial things that we talked about, but we have to do some follow-up, and I believe next meeting Councillor Houle and I will be presenting some issues that we're talking about with public works and with recreation, where we're going to be wanting to get some council direction. We've spent a lot of time with Joe talking about ditching and some concerns, issues, things that this council is going to have to be deciding in terms of, who owns the culverts, what do we do with, culverts that people have put on in themselves if they're not to size. What do we do about the bridges that people don't take up and it restricts flow of water. So we're talking about those kinds of things. We will be coming to council with information and decisions that council will have to make by next meeting, Councillor Houle?
Yep.
Okay. And we were also talking about the hockey boards, and we're still looking at options in terms of the hockey boards and grant options, because it's a big price tag. It's like $25,000 for hockey boards. It's a big price tag, but our hockey boards are a mess. We're looking at whether that includes installation, and one of the ideas that we were coming up with was maybe seeing if we can get a group of volunteers from our community who really likes hockey. If we get boards in, if we can afford to get the boards in, to help with the installation as opposed to our public works guys doing it or hiring it out. So we're just trying to do some brainstorming about how to make ends meet in an okay way. But we'll be coming here with some final requests for direction from council next meeting. Any other committee reports?
Madam Mayor, in reference to Interlake Rec Municipal Association, your IRMA,
Yeah.
you made reference that you'll be meeting again. Is this now, was a new committee, is this something that the CAO needs to be amending the organizational bylaw and list this committee
Yes.
is that?
Yeah,
Is
we'll
that-
be meeting 3 or 4 times a year.
Okay. Be it hereby resolved that council approves the council committee and board reports as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Houle, for a mover. I lost mine. Councillor Houle moved. Seconder, please. Councillor Gendron. All in favor? Carried. I forgot to talk about the financial.
Be Be it hereby resolved, the correspondence be accepted as circulated.
Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Kozlowski. Seconder, please. Councillor Jarvis. Everybody have a chance to read all the correspondence? Any questions, comments? Anything stand out for you? No? All in favor? Carried.
Be it hereby resolved that council moves in camera at 7:25 p.m. to discuss matters that are in the preliminary stages, and be it further resolved that any matters discussed while in camera be held confidential until such time as discussed in open council.
May I mover, please? Councillor Jarvis. Seconder, please. Councillor Gendron. All in favor? Carried. Thank you all for coming out, folks. Great to see Jarvis.
Alrighty. You're live.
I get that.
He's thirsty.
It's Thursday.
Been going.
All right,
Early rising.
are we live? We're live. Be it hereby resolved that council
Thank
moves
you.
out of camera at 7:53 PM and resumes the regular meeting of council.
I get a mover, please?
A lot of hands.
All of a sudden you're all alive?
People on the street raise their hand.
I have the mover noted as Councillor Jarvis, the seconder noted as Councillor Hool.
Perfect.
We can get to the clubhouse.
Bingo.
All in favor? Carried.
Be it hereby resolved that council adjourns the May 8th, 2024 regular meeting at 7:54.
Mover, please, Councillor Hool. Seconder, please, Councillor Kozlowski.